We also need to be aware of who the attackers are. Most often they're just called hackers, which just used to be someone who used something for a purpose it wasn't intended for. Someone smart and innovative that found a new way of using something for something else. The way we use it now, though, is it's anyone who's trying to access or disrupt any leg of the CIA triad, our confidentiality, integrity, or availability. But there are different types of hackers. The white hat hackers are penetration testers. They're looking for flaws in our system so we can fix them. They're also called ethical hackers. Then on the other side is the black hat hackers. These are the malicious attackers who tries to find our flaws and exploit them. They can also be referred to as crackers. And then somewhere in the middle is gray hat hackers. They go looking for vulnerable code, system, or products and then publicize the vulnerability. This can in some cases cause problems because when you share the vulnerability, the black hat hackers now know it's there and the software developer hasn't had time enough to develop a patch. Some of them would approach the company, tell them about the vulnerability, allow them to fix it, send out a patch, but if nothing happens, they would publicize. And then finally we have script kiddies. It's a very derogatory term used for someone who has no knowledge, someone who's downloaded tools, but they can still do a lot of damage. They're often just having fun and doing something that they think is cool, having no clue of the consequences. And the hacking tools you can download nowadays are very complex. Just because they have no skill doesn't mean they're not dangerous to us. And these categories are of course very high level. There are hundreds of variations of skill levels, intent, and effect. Outside attackers are by far the ones that launches the most attacks on our systems. But if we have good defense in depth, they're also the least successful. There are many reasons for attackers wanting to attack our organization. They might be showing off for someone. They might be financially motivated. They might not like what we do. And there are obviously many ways they can attack our systems. As we looked at earlier, between 48 and 62% of the risks come from outsiders, which then should make us question, what about insiders? That's our authorized employees, the ones we've given access to our systems. And they may not be malicious, they might just not think about what they're doing, or not understand it's a problem, but the damage is just as bad. Between 38 and 52% of risks come from insiders. And there are many administrative, physical, and technical countermeasures we can put in place to make our network and our data more secure, even from our own people. Another type of attacker could be a hacktivist. It's basically a hacker-activist smushed together, and they're often hacking for political or socially motivated purposes. This could be free speech, human rights, or the freedom of information movement. Some of the high-profile hacktivism cases could be the anonymous DDoS attack on Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal to protest the arrest of Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks. Another well-known example is when Google, Twitter, and Say Now were together to provide communication for the Egyptian people when the government did an internet blackout in 2011 during the Arabian Spring. Hacktivists are often highly skilled and can do serious damage. Another threat is state-sponsored hacking. This is very common. These are often attacks only happening regular working hours from the attacker's country. This is a day job. About 120 countries across the world have developed ways to use the internet as a weapon to target financial markets, government computer systems, and utilities. You no longer have to attack a country to destroy its infrastructure. Some of the most famous attacks was the involvement of Russia in the US elections, the Sony websites by North Korea, Stuxnet by the US and Israel, and the hack of the US Office of Personnel Management by China. It's very common, and it's not just the military targets you think it would be. Imagine how fast you can bring a country to its knees if you stop the water, the power, the production of gasoline, disrupt the internet. All of these things are computer controlled. Within a few weeks or maybe a month, the country will stop functioning. It is somewhat scary, but also something you need to be aware of. Understand the threat landscape you're living in. And understand it's not if you're going to get compromised, but when. It's common for attackers to use bots and botnets to reach their goals. A bot is just a computer system that's been infected with malware, which does whatever the attacker wants, and is normally part of a botnet, which is controlled by a bot herder. The system is often compromised by a remote access Trojan that's installed through a game or application with a hidden payload, and the bot is controlled through IRC, HTTP, or HTTPS. Some bots are activated as soon as they're infected, and some lay dormant until they're activated. And depending on the attacker's target, data on your system could be compromised or not. They might just use your system to send spam emails, be part of a DDoS attack, or something similar, or they could compromise your system as well and steal your data. A botnet is a CNC network command and control, and like you can see in the graph on the right, the actual owner of the botnet has access to many systems that act as herders, which then in turn connects to the compromised systems and tell them what to do. In large botnets, there can be hundreds of thousands of zombies or infected systems, and if the attacker wants to start a DDoS attack, even if it's just regular traffic, Most websites will be crippled if all of a sudden 100,000 people or 200,000 people try to connect to it. Another very common attack is phishing, but in hacking it's spelled P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G. It's really just phishing spelled with P-H instead of F. It's a form of social engineering where the attacker sends fake emails in order to compromise systems, get information from people, or have them pay them money. We've all seen them. It's the click to win, click to claim your $50 Amazon card, or congratulations, your rich uncle left you $1 billion. Send us $5,000 to claim it. Regular phishing attacks are sent to hundreds of thousands of people, and they only need a very, very small percentage to actually be worth it. One of the examples I remember is the public treasurer from Michigan that sent $1.2 million to Nigeria so he could get the $300 million that were in the bank there for him. He sent $1.1 million of taxpayer funds and $72,000 of his own. Even if you send millions and millions of emails, one payday like that is worth it. And this is where we want to train and raise awareness with our users so they don't click on the links. Question the emails they get, and if they're not certain, forward it to IT security. But just like any other attack, the more specific, the better designed, and the more personal the attack is, the higher chances it has of succeeding. That brings us to spear phishing. Spear phishing is targeted phishing. The attacker targets specific individuals, and they have some prior knowledge about the person or the company they work for. The more well-crafted the email is, the higher chance it has of succeeding. And then the final form of phishing is whale phishing. It's a type of spear phishing, but it only targets the senior leadership of an organization. They're interesting targets because they have the decision-making ability, they often don't have a very deep IT understanding, and they want to do what they can to protect the company. One of the common whale phishing emails is sending legal-looking documents to the CFO or CEO, saying your company will be sued in 2 weeks if you don't fill out the documentation attached and return it to us. Then the attachment would have a Trojan in it that'll infect their computer. For all of these, we can obviously implement technical measures that'll move them into the spam folder or just filter them out, but user training and awareness is definitely needed as well. You'll also hear talk about Vishing. It's voice phishing, which is also a form of social engineering, and those attacks work pretty much the same as the phishing. They can be automated phone messages saying your taxes are due, your account's locked, enter your password to prevent something, or they can be more targeted. It can be a real person calling with prior knowledge, trying to gain access to information they shouldn't have. For these types of attack, training and awareness is especially important. We can't really filter out phone calls, unless we have an advanced phone filtering system, which almost no one does. You see the repeating pattern here? Train the users, make them aware, help them spot the fake emails, the fake phone calls. This should be an integral part of our layered defense.